Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's local, North Alabama. You can also find us on syndicated television, Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching. Check us out on all of the social media sites as well. That's Facebook. Got 3 pages there, and then also YouTube, MeWe, you name it, we're doing it. Twitter, X, the whole works. But again, thank you so much for watching. I have Loretta Lynn Rodger with me right now, and she is a crafter. And I'm going to tell you, fellow crafters kind of unite. We get together and, we like to pick each other's brains and all those kinds of great things. You know what, Loretta, crafting is a good way if you are holding a demanding job. Let's say you're in the corporate world and you got to get some kind of release. Crafting and gardening, all those things, they'll help you do it.
Absolutely, they will. I guess my favorite thing about crafting is that I don't necessarily create for myself. I create for other people. And as you know, I also love to teach, because anytime that you teach someone something, then they can share it with someone else. And it's a nice community that keeps growing.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And I meant to show you this before we got online, but I've been doing a lot of metalworking, and this is actually a pen. I was going to make a pendant out of it. It's made out of metal, and it also has this little thing right here in the middle. That's actually a shower ring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I wanted texture to it, so you can't see it probably here. So I got my beating hammer and I started just beating the daylights out of that thing right there. And then I found a stone. When Phil and I travel, we just got back from San Antonio. And so when we travel, instead of buying things that remind us of the trip, I find rocks. I look for stones, small ones. And then this will always remind me of San Antonio. And so I made a pen out of it, just basically glued this on the back right here. But every time I wear this, it'll make me think of San Antonio.
And so you've made a pen, and I'm sitting here going, that would be gorgeous on the front of a larger journal.
Mm-hmm.
Use it as almost like you would a door handle, but, to open the book. Yeah, that'd be really neat. That's really pretty.
I wore it to church on my blue jeans.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's all about, I guess, remembering and having, things you do, like in your marriage, we remember every trip. We remember every time we've been somewhere, and just, little picnics and little stuff like that. But it's creating memories. And I think sometimes when we go on trips, we're so busy looking for that thing that's going to remind us of the trip. All you got to do is look on the ground, pick up a stone.
True. And the other thing is, if you happen to go to the thrift store, or you're just walking through the parking lot and you find, somebody's piece of broken jewelry I clean that stuff off and bring it home all the time. It's like, that's part of somebody's keychain. I will find a use for it. So I do it all the time. It's all about
using our brain.
And there have been many studies done I'm sorry, Miss Donna. There have been many studies done that people who are creative actually have a little less chance of having Alzheimer's or dementia than people who don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there are different parts of our brain. And I know that a lot of artists are actually left-handed.
Are they really?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm an artist. I'm left-handed. But so I've been to several meetings with artists, and almost everybody in the room, I know when we were living in Charlotte, North Carolina, I went to a meeting. It was an art club, got a special invitation to go. And I was thrilled that I got to go to this. And so the lady who was in front of the class was actually painting something like really, really fast. And I said, "Oh, you're left-handed." And she said, "Okay." She said, "You just brought something up." She said, "How many of the people in the room are left-handed?"
Right.
So I rate almost everyone in the room, was left-handed. There's something about working on the right side of your brain.
I'm right-handed, so that's really kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, a lot of artists are right-handed as well as left-handed, and then some are both.
Oh, ambidextrous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I'm jealous of people who can do that because my left hand hangs out like what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, but my handwriting is horrid. I mean, I really, Phil always says, you know what, you should have been a doctor. You know, your handwriting looks like a doctor would have written. As a matter of fact, when I come in, I've been talking to sponsors or whatever, and I have some information to put into the sponsor book. Phil will say, type it. I can't read that. So your handwriting is just like another world. But there's some kind of healing effect you get from making something and using, just even if it's just, and you've mentioned this before, just get a tablet, just start drawing circles. You'd be amazed at what that does for you.
Yeah, just doodle. It doesn't have to be anything that you even recognize, but there's something about doodling that frees your mind. It helps you to not worry. I mean, the Bible tells us we shouldn't worry anyway, but we're still human. But there's something very tangible about doodling. My mother, as I've shared before in your show, who I miss, she's been gone 17, 18, 19, 20, 5 years now, almost 6, almost, yeah. But when I was growing up, she would sit at the kitchen table. Now, this is way back in the day when we still had phones on the wall, and the big curly cord coming across. And she'd sit on the phone for hours with her girlfriend doodling in the phone book. And I would give anything if I could get my hands on one of those phone books. Of course, they're long gone. But that's one of my favorite memories of her when I was younger. And she also had a very beautiful handwriting. I have a very similar style to my writing, but it's nothing as elegant as my mom's was. But it's those types of memories that whether you necessarily know people are watching, they do. I'll sit in meetings sometimes, and I like to sit in the back. Do you know why I like to sit in the back?
So you can check people out.
No, because I get bored and I don't want to be embarrassed because I'm sitting there doodling on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you got to find what works for you. What do you say to the person who says, well, Donnie, you keep talking about that. You keep talking about, finding a hobby and, doing some kind of artwork. Talk to the person who has never, ever been an artist before or has never crafted. It doesn't matter, does it?
No. I have so many people, they'll say, oh, I just love your work and I just could never do that. And, my statement has been the same for years, and that's simply, but you can do it. Oh no. I said, I can prove it. And I'll go, what? How are you going to prove it? Well, can you turn on a light switch? Well, of course I can turn on a light switch. Then you qualify. Mm-hmm. You're telling me you can't do something when you already know that you can. You have to take just a few minutes. There was 20, 30 years ago now, I used to do a little bit of Stampin' Up! At, say, nationally, like a tier program, and they sell products, but they sell a lot of stamps and scrapbooking supplies. And that's kind of how I got my start in hobbies anyway. And I would have these little kits and I'd make these cards and stuff. And it's like, I didn't think my work was any good either. And it's like, the more I did, the better I got. The more I did, the more I learned. And it made me a more well-rounded person, number one. Number two, it also gave me a new peer group that I actually not only could relate to, but could blend in with and not feel like an outsider coming in. And so my point is that it doesn't matter what you try, as long as you try it. Buy a few stamps on sale at, Hobby Lobby or another big box store and an ink pads of paper.
Go to Michael's. That's one of our sponsors.
Yes, absolutely. And get some color pencils. They don't have to be expensive. The ones that you can buy for like $1.25 at, like at Dollar Tree or something. They're not the greatest, but you can kind of get a feel for what is to color an image or to make a card, or that's why these little kit things are really good.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I did this, and then keep it for yourself or make a copy of it, even if you're going to mail it. And a year from now, I want you to go look at it. And you're going to go, well, that wasn't too bad, but what I'm doing now is, okay, there's a big difference. And there is. And it's the same thing with journaling. You know, people have this, I'm a huge journaler, as you know. I love having my journals. I probably have 2 or 3 right now that are working journals that are, good heavens knows where they are. But when you do a journal, especially if you're going through a rough patch in your life, and you treat it more as I'm going to write this down and give it to the Lord kind of thing, and you actually take the time to write like 3 good things and 1 bad thing, and then keep doing that. A month from now, it's going to look a whole lot different. You're going to look back at that and you're going to go, I was hurt over nothing. Look what's changed. It may not even be any better, but something has changed, and it's starting to swing back, you know, towards what would be a better outcome. So that's another reason even to journal. Journaling is a really great beginner way to start any crafts.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Anything you do in your life. I know when I first started, we moved back. We lived in the big city, Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we moved back on the farm, bought the farm. This is my granddad's farm and my grandmother's farm. And so some of the things, the gardening techniques kind of came back to me. And so I started writing those down, journaling. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I started writing those things down. And the neat thing about it is I always like to put the outcome of whatever. And I'm going to tell you, you've heard me talk about using, you know, block gardens, best thing I ever did. But the first year, I was happy with it. It was better than it was using, because it's almost a flood zone in the back, and we have very sandy soil. So if you get a lot of rain, that's just as bad as not getting enough. I mean, you won't have growth. So the not the block gardens were really a huge, huge answer to my gardening techniques. Well, there are things I decided, I think I could have done that different. And you won't remember it. I don't care who you are. You're not going to remember those things. You need to write them down. So before we started the garden this spring, I started looking back in the journal over what I thought I might need to change. Well, the garden got even better. But I would have never remembered that, Loretta. Never in 10 million years. Let's go to a commercial break. I just saw what time it is. Time always flies when you're on the show. We'll be right back in just a minute. Everybody hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for 2 or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
We're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, local to North Alabama. That's on Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. at that Central Time. And you can also find us on all the other social media networks as well. We also have a website, donnasedge.com, donnasedge.com. Check us out. And I also wanted to mention Applebee's. I just saw their advertisement come back. They took a little bit of time off. Well, they came back. We appreciate you guys coming back. Appreciate the confidence you've placed in us and your advertising needs, especially with all of our other advertisers as well. I have Loretta Lynn Rodger with us right now. We're talking a little bit about journaling and how important that is. I mean, man, you can spot on with that. I mean, it really helps relieve pressure. If you've got a pressure job, write down what you don't like about it. But I love the idea of the sandwich effect. And that's where if there's something in your life you don't like what you like about it. You're going to find something you like about it. I know a man whose wife passed away. They didn't get along with each other exceptionally well. And so I told him, I went to the funeral home, and I said, I'm really, really sorry that she passed away, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I got to say something good. And I was like, what? He said, I got to say something good. She made good cornbread. So anyway, don't go that extreme, but write down something good. And then whatever you don't like about the situation, end it with something good. Find something good.
You know, you were talking about your garden journal. Another thing is, and people call them different things. Some people call them junk journals. Some people just call them, different names. But when you're doing a journal, who made that for you? I'm not sure. Oh, that was me. It's beautiful.
I love it. And I like the little tree of life. That's why I chose this one for my garden.
The charm, yeah. But if you take some of your seed packs, or you make sure that you write down, the information on a certain plant. This is something that Mike's been doing this year, where you write it down. If it didn't work out, you're not going to plant it next year. Did you have a journal or, some way that you've kept the record? Now that may sound a little silly, but here's some really good news for those of you who are thinking a journal is a waste of your time. If you have any family members or friends, especially if you're getting older and you've kept a journal, that is going to be a treasure for them.
I got thrilled to death. Phil found it. So he was looking under, for some reason, it had fallen down under a cabinet. And it was my grandmother's recipes.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness, the best cook ever. Both my grandmothers just fantastic cooks. And Phil said, take a look at what I found. And I was thrilled. You're right. You're building a legacy when you have a journal.
Make a copy of those recipes for me, will you?
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
I don't care. I love
it. She actually went by the recipes either. She went more by texture, what it looked like, what it smelled like.
Mm-hmm.
Than she did anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So she'd alter it.
Here's a thought for that, especially if you have some old photos or your personal memories. I would copy those. I wouldn't just use those actual ones. I'd make sure those were safe, but I would copy those recipes and make basically a brag book that had both recipes and a journal that you've written to remember and really bless that time that you have with her, because as your son gets older and hopefully one day, blesses you guys with a few little grandbabies, their children are going to recognize that. Their great children are going to have that if the Lord doesn't come first. But what a blessing that is. That is such a neat thing to have. I have my mother's old Betty Crocker cookbook from the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
With her notes in the margin of some of these things. And yeah, I remember them so well.
That's just so cool. I mean, and also the way they measured things, like I would say, well, how much salt are you putting in there, Mama? And we called her Mama because she thought she was too young to be See, I was the first granddaughter, the first grandkid. So she was too young to be a grandmother. So we called her Mama. And so she would say, I think we're just going to put a pinch. And I would say, I don't see a measuring spoon for a pinch. And she would say, there's not a measuring spoon for a pinch. You just reach into the salt and just go, boop, put it in there like that. That's a pinch. I never really grasped that. But anyway, even now, there's some things I'd rather measure. But she was right, though. But, science has actually proved her to be correct on this, both my grandmothers, because it really depends on the elevation you live in. If you live up on the mountain, then the temperature you actually bake a cake in and the time you bake it is going to be different from somebody who, say, lives in Florida. I mean, it's going to be different.
Yeah, we live in basically the heart of Sand Mountain. And so our elevation actually is a little higher. And what I found is if I'm using actual recipes, sometimes I have to back off the time it cooks for a little bit because elevation. And it's amazing to me how the God of the universe has designed this earth to be so specific and so individual for each person that now we see it through science. It's not just you're at elevation. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know the higher power involved here, by the way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful. It makes me happy just thinking about old recipes and things growing up, even with my grandmother. She's the first one who ever gave me black-eyed peas and rice.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
Yeah, that's good. And it takes you back. Again, we're talking about memories all over again. I'm really glad. When we first moved into this house, my granddad passed away in the year 2000. My grandmother was right behind him. She pretty much well mourned herself. So it was 2002 when she passed away. And so Phil said, well, you want another stove? And I said, not if this one works. I said, this stove is a workhorse. And this stove, I remember when she had her kitchen redone. This is in the 60s. I was a little girl. And I remember the stove coming in. It's like an oven. And it was a new thing where you didn't have like the stove and the stovetop together. So the stovetop's on one side and the oven's on another side. Do you know I'm still using that oven? It's the best oven ever. They don't make stoves like that anymore.
They don't.
It's a Magic Chef. So, I mean, I don't think well, I know you can get parts for it because one of the burners came out one day and I told Phil, I said, oh no, I'm going to have another stove. I love this one. I know how to work it. I know it. It's like my grandmother had it. And he said, no, I think we can get a burner. So he had to order it online. But anyway, we got a burner and I'm still using that stove that was put in there in the 60s.
And you wouldn't trade it for the world either.
I love this stove. This is the one I want to keep this one forever. It bakes. It does exactly what I want it to do. And again, stuff you buy now is just not like that. I mean, it's just everything is built disposable nowadays. I mean, it lasts just a few years.
It is. It really is. You know, I'm going to give you, this is kind of a funny example, and it's almost the opposite. When Mike and I moved here, we decided just to buy a new microwave and put it in. And any microwave we've had up until then, so the 16 years of our marriage then, it's like would last 1-2 years and it would die. And it's just like, this isn't right. This microwave has lasted 7 years now. Not a problem. Thank you.
It's just, I mean, it's like everything is throwaway in society. I think people are looking for something more sustainable now. I think people are getting just a little bit, we got just a little bit over a minute left in this segment. You're going to hang around for another segment?
Yeah. I
think we got some time. But in a disposable world, I think people are just looking for something more concrete.
That's true.
I know. I think so. So, Loretta, how can folks find out more information about you? You have a website.
I do. Loretta Rodger, all one word, .com. I just feel like going .com. Yeah, I do. I just updated it a couple of weeks ago. As you know, and I can't tell.
Check it out.
Yeah. I can't tell that there is there's a prospect for something very big to happen in my life. And once those details kind of get, fleshed out, so to speak, I'll be able to tell a little bit more about that. But, if you allow creativity, like we were talking to earlier, to really help you and not hinder you in your life, doing something like a blog's easy. I'm actually starting to write a book.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think it's the name of my book is going to be Thankful and Grateful. Mm-hmm. And it's going to talk about some very difficult subjects that I think a lot of Christians face, and a lot of people want to judge because they don't know the truth. And when you deal with truth versus something you've made up in your head, then things are better. But it's LorettaRodger.com. I kind of got off on the tangent right there, but there's lots on there. There's some instructions. There's links to videos. There are, of course, links to this show. And it's just recently, within the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've migrated away from the GoDaddy platform. They do my hosting, but nothing else. And I have a private server, and her name's Margie Baxley. I will get you her information, but she does web design websites. Very wonderful Christian woman who also has really good pricing as far as the services she offers. So,
Loretta, we're going to have to go. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. We'll be back a little bit later.